Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Astral Tourist, your place for the weird and the wonderful and the overly abstract sometimes. Okay, so first a few channel highlights. I've been focusing more on the music. I've been adding songs to a distributor who's made a topic channel for me. And I also have a music channel, the Astral Tourist Music. So for those that are interested in that, that's great. But this is about an astral projection, of course, because this is the astral projection channel since I separated out the music from the astral projection stuff. So in this case, this one is about where I found myself inside an enormous building. And, as soon as I see that I'm in an enormous building or feel it, I'm wondering, am I in like mall world again or what? But no, this was not mall world. And actually, one of the intentions I made was not to be in mall world, and it worked. And I do not recommend negative intentions like don't be XYZ, because they will usually get you there. And I wonder if they work for me just because I have so much experience that my mind already kind of knows where I want to go. So always be on the positive side. Don't do that if you're a beginner or even intermediate. Always say where you want to be, not where you don't want to be. But in this case, it worked for me. And when I was younger, it would not have. So keep that in mind. So I was in an enormous building when I became lucid, the size of an entire town, and there were sections of forest woven directly into the architecture. And I have been focusing some on solar punk music lately, which is, nature integrated with technology and electronic music. So that might have been an inspiration to help that vibe. And I do remember being tingly. I remember shooting out of my body earlier in the evening. And a lot of times I have that blank spot. And then I became lucid later. So, this is where I became lucid. In this building that was the size of an entire town. I could see it with my 360 vision. I was panning around. And there were, sections of forest woven in. And I could feel that it was an astral projection and not a dream. And at this point, I've learned to feel it. I can feel, not really the density. The density is the wrong word. But I can just, I can feel the vibe of the places I am. So, I knew that I had an experience earlier. There was a man with coins, and he wanted to hire me for something. And this is a whole previous experience. I remember he had a lot of white light around him. He wanted me to do something. He had a lot of coins. And in the astral, coins represent a trade. It's not necessarily financial directly. And I was like, sure. And the exchange with something like that usually just means you can have a longer astral projection or more energy for something you want to do later. And unfortunately, I forgot a lot of the details on that. But I decided to do this job. So I'd been hired when I became lucid in this place to brighten up the place. And this was different. I mean, this was a lady. And, before there was the man with the coins. And so, in this one, after that, I'd been hired to brighten up the place by a lady in this business suit. Not to fix it up, not to clear negative energy. And a lot of times, in mall worlds, which I'd been having a lot of mall world stuff going on, I'm hired to keep things nice, keep the peace. I'm a peacekeeper, or a bodyguard or something, or a tracker, because I can track various energies. But that wasn't it this time. I get to have some fun here on this one. And that's the beauty of some astral jobs. Light, creative, and unexpectedly joyful. So I do have a whole astral jobs section, astral gigs I've had. And they vary so much. So feel free to check that out. And I can't even, begin to tell you how varied they can be. So anyway, back to this one. Sorry, I'm a little scattered today. I'm just, I woke up a bit tired, but I'm, not out of it or anything, just tired, But it's a good tired, and it's been winter, and I don't think it was because of the production. So as I explored, I met the people who worked there. There were some high fashion models, some architects and engineers, some artists. And I am reading off some notes, by the way, so that's why I sound scattered like this. I'm just like going from my notes and kind of riffing from them. So my workspace was right in the middle of this forested office area. Remember, everything's integrated here, and it's also giant sized. By the way, if I didn't say that before, it's giant sized, everything. And then, the building's a city-wide long building. And I wondered if I'd have a desk. And unlike in a dream where a desk will just appear if you intend one, somebody came over and actually made it for me. And they made a curving obsidian desk that appeared along the forest path. It was just a spot already ready to use. Somebody else did it for me because they knew I was new to the area. And this is also indicative of astral projection. Like in a dream, this stuff, desks will just appear and stuff. And this took effort. Somebody used effort to make that desk for me. And they were honed into my mind a bit because of the obsidian. Obsidian to me is like I'm hooked up with my subconscious mind. And they were like telling me I'm good to go. And it's complicated because in a dream, you don't need all that. It just appears. But when you're communicating with other people, it takes effort to get even to that point. So anyway, I decided, since they did that for me with the desk, they had done all that. I was just curious. I was like, that got me even more lucid than I already was. And I was like, I'm going to take a moment to look at myself with 360 vision to see where exactly I am. And I noticed my hair was longer and braided along one side. I was like, maybe that's a little wish fulfillment there. I don't know. Because I've been trying to grow out my hair. And I was wearing white heels with dark blue floral designs. Now the outfit matched. I had a white top and skirt with floral patterns. Not exactly tight fitting, but not loose either. And I prefer loose clothes in the astral, like the whimsical stuff. This wasn't that. And I was kind of matching the environment a bit. And sometimes I do try to blend into the environment. So it also felt intentional while also being playful. Remembering the man with the coins and the lady from earlier, I decided to finally try and do my job. And I was to brighten the space, I decided I had to figure out what the space was to begin with. So it was I was looking around and I found some company literature. And one booklet focused on the architecture and design of the area. And another one was more about travel, escapades, fun things to do. So I decided to bring the architectural part of it to life if I could during the brightening. So remembering the man from earlier with all those golden coins, I created a massive metallic silver table from that type of energy. I added other decorative elements from the booklet, statues, florals, and even high fashion models of shoes, outfits, people dressed in weird styles, anything I could think of, and scaled everything to match the vastness of the building. The display almost reached the treetops. Remember, this is an integrated solar punk kind of space with everything integrated. So soon people started to gather and admire the display. Some even flew above to inspect it from a bird's eye view. Since I'd already built it to that scale, that kind of made sense. I felt quietly pleased. Decorating has always been a joy for me. And I'd added special little touches to the vase and hydrangeas that made the display feel alive. Later, I wandered the forested paths more deeply. Some of the trees were glowing, including, I noticed in particular, cherry trees. So this was like way out there in the forest. That was also in the building. One in particular caught my attention, though. It had a thicker trunk. It was glowing more. And within it, I spotted a cherry tree dryad. Now remember, my roots go back to the fairies, which is why I can remember all of this. So, that's in my how-tos and the explanation about my origins and my first astral projections and everything. So her head and upper body stretched along a branch, peering down the path at something far away. And she smiled with this really big smile, like out of proportion, way out of proportion for the tree, entirely absorbed. And I grinned back, but I still don't know if she was actually smiling at me. Now, fairies, they can be wild, they can be free, and they don't necessarily want to notice humans even at all. So I really don't know. And I've seen dryads in astral projections before, but rarely like this, fully integrated, observing an entire world in her own whimsical way. Like, I began to wonder if this was, who hired me maybe, but, that was just my mind taken off, wondering what's going on here. So, eventually people started leaving, and I started seeing all these fancy sports cars appearing. So again, with the model thing, my brain was showing me models of ideas and things. And in this case, cars. And a funny echo, from earlier. And, there were shoes. I forget if I mentioned the shoes. I had some really high fashion shoes on. And they were comfortable, which is odd because I would never wear high heels, but I would always wear comfortable shoes, and I still do. And someone asked if I needed a ride, but I told them it's fine, I might explore longer. And when the area went dark, I returned to my body. And I've had this happen before. I've been hired like a small world kind of security and stuff. And when the shops close and everything goes dark, I just, I get back to my body on my own. I'm not worried about it because I've been doing it all this time. I don't need any kind of special formula anymore to come back. I know I'm coming back no matter what. So, I did feel the familiar tingling when I arrived back in my body, and it was a gentle pull this time. When I said to go back to my body, it was really gentle this time, but I still got the tingling sensation that I usually get when it's a full-on astral projection and not just a dream. So hopefully this helps someone. And, I love the fairies so much that anytime I have anything, any experience with a fairy, I am going to share it. I have not been sharing as many experiences lately, or if they're just, kind of so-so. If you would like to hear something in particular that I did not cover in the how-tos, or you want to hear more mall world experiences, because goodness gracious, I have plenty of those. If you would like to know more experiences that others have not covered and you think I might be able to, definitely let me know. So thanks so much for tuning in. If there's anything I can help you with in any way that nobody else you don't think can, or that I did not cover already again, I'm here still. Thanks again. Lots of love from the heart. Lots of, loving energy, healing energy, Reiki energy, all of it, all the way around. Let's spin the healing and the white light and the grace of just, existing and being here. And we don't have to define it all the time, do we now? So thanks so much. I love you all. Thank you. And happy astral travels.